Hey guys, and welcome back to CM Rickens and Reviews, where we talk all things movies and TV. And today I thought I'd talk about my top 20 favorite movies of all time. Now, this list has been taking me quite a few months to make, and this is only because I wanted to pick only my favorite movies and not movies that I could just think of in the moment. So I made a list on Letterboxd, and over time, I added to it, took away from it, and moved around the movies. I couldn't pick 10 because every movie on here I absolutely loved, so I couldn't miss that movie, and an honorable mention just doesn't do it justice. But without further ado, it's going to be a long video, so let's get into it. Now, I'm surprised I have to mention this, but this is just my list, and if you really read the title, it said favorite movies, not the best movies. I have not seen some of the most critically acclaimed movies. There's actually a lot of them. Braveheart, Gladiator, any of the Alien movies. Haven't seen a lot of horror movies. None of the Terminator movies. So really some of the best movies of all time I haven't seen. I am trying to get to them. Haven't watched The Godfather. No really Martin Scorsese movies. So this is just going to be the movies that I've seen. So again, if your favorite movie is not on here, that is cool. Have a fun discussion down below. I have 3 honorable mentions, and they are Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Out of the Shadows. I have the poster right here for the first movie, but the second one is better in my opinion. I think I've seen this movie over 10 times, and I really like it. I just don't think it really could be in the top 20. I also have Tombstone, a movie I've only seen once, but I absolutely adored. I thought it was great. And The Peanut Butter Falcon, another great movie. So without further ado, though, let's get into my top 20. So at number 20, I have Avatar. I've seen this movie multiple times, and for me, this is my Star Wars. Now, I do love Star Wars, but what I mean by that is Star Wars, the people who grew up with the original trilogy absolutely adore that movie and those movies, and Avatar is that big sci-fi franchise for me. Now, there's only been 1 movie, but there's going to be 4 more, and I really think this is a great movie. I think the effects in here are so great. They're even better than most of the effects in today's day and age, that it blows me away, and that is why it is one of my favorite movies, just from a technological aspect. And the story, it is a little rocky in the last, half of the movie, but overall, it just takes me into another world, and I really love this movie. In 19th place is one of my favorite comedies of all time, and that is Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. I've seen this I talked about this in my best theater experiences. Go check that video out. But I'm not going to talk about it much now because I already talked about it. But this is a very good movie. It's a great movie, in my opinion. I know a lot of people love this movie. Me and my cousin just watch this movie constantly along with grown-ups, and this movie is just so funny. It's so fresh. It's just really funny, and if you haven't seen it, check it out. And 18th place is going to be a little bit of a surprise, but that is A Dog's Purpose. I've seen this movie, again, multiple times, but this is a sweet movie. It's a fun movie about, kind of what it's like to be a dog, the importance of dogs and their loyalty and all that stuff. Now, it is a tearjerker movie, so if you don't want to cry, don't watch this movie. But if you want a nice, kind of heartfelt dog movie, I absolutely recommend A Dog's Purpose. Haven't seen the sequels yet, but I'm really excited to check them out. In 17th place is Star Wars: The Force Awakens. This movie is just so fresh for me. I just think it's so great. It takes kind of the similar formula from A New Hope, but it also adds more to it and more characters, great characters actually. And this is the first Star Wars movie I remember seeing advertised, so this movie definitely has a special place in my heart. I love every new character in here that they added, Last Jedi characters excluded, but this is such a good movie and a great way to kick off the new Star Wars trilogy. In 16th place, I have an actually critically acclaimed movie, and that is The Lion King. Now, this movie, my dad likes this movie, my sister likes this movie. It's just such, and there's a reason why, because it's such a great movie. And if you don't like this movie, fine, but I definitely recommend it because it is definitely one of the best animated movies of all time. It's funny, the music, there's not a bad song in this movie, and the animation is absolutely spectacular. The Africa setting blows me away every time I watch this movie. It's just such a great movie. I can't recommend it enough. In 15th place, I have Jurassic Park, a movie I've only seen twice, but absolutely love. Now, I love movies that you get taken into, movies that take you to their worlds, and this is one of them. I like movies where you go into it and the characters don't know what's happening and it's eerie, and that's what Jurassic Park does for me great. And this is such a good movie, and the score by John Williams is so great. The dinosaurs look phenomenal for their time in this movie, and I just think it's a really, really great movie that, well, it is a classic. This, Avatar, and Kong Skull Island are probably some of the best, like, worlds, even though Jurassic Park is kind of set in our world. It's just this one area. Haven't seen any of the sequels, but I definitely am looking forward to it because Jurassic Park, again, perfect movie. In 14th place, I have my favorite DreamWorks movie, and that is Kung Fu Panda 2. The first Kung Fu Panda is an absolute surprise. I grew up watching that movie and this movie on repeat. The third one's okay, but this one is more dramatic. It fleshes out the characters more. It gives backstories that you didn't think you needed, but after seeing this movie, you know that it really kind of like completes the story. And this movie is it's exceptionally great. Everybody who's seen this movie, I think, really likes it. If you've seen it, tell me down below. But this is just such, again, the characters, what they do with Poe, it's great. The animation, again, spectacular. 13th place, this movie was on the thumbnail for the video. It's Step Brothers. I've seen this movie with my friend quite a few times, and it is absolutely hilarious. This movie stars Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, Mary Steenburgen. Adam Scott's in here, and he's hilarious. He's in Parks and Rec, and Catherine Hahn's also absolutely hilarious. This is just one of those movies where it's such a ridiculous premise that, it just kind of takes you out of the movie, but also like makes the movie like you just love it. It's not my favorite Will Ferrell movie because my favorite of his movies is actually coming soon on this list, but Step Brothers comes in at number 13. In 12th place, I have the movie Chef, directed by Jon Favreau, who's actually one of my favorite directors of all time. He's done The Jungle Book, the 2 Iron Man movies, and Chef. Now, Chef is an absolute masterpiece in my opinion. This is the best indie movie I've ever seen. Again, only like Peanut Butter Falcon might have came close, but it is an indie movie, but it has some all-star talent, including Jon Favreau, Sofia Vergara, John Leguizamo. We got Dustin Hoffman in here, Oliver Platt. It's just a great movie. It's so wholesome. And it's just it's like a road trip movie between a father and his son and his friend, and it's a good comedy, but it also makes you hungry. And this to me is just like my go-to watch if I just want to feel uplifted. In 11th place, one of my favorite movies of all time is a movie based off of a show, and that is the Simpsons movie. I know a lot of people say it's not a good movie. To me, it is. I've seen this movie about 5 times, loved it each time, can quote it. It's so funny. This movie's in my theme song, but it's just such a good movie. They bring in so many characters from the show, and it just makes me appreciate the show more. I think if I didn't watch the show, I wouldn't like this movie, but since I absolutely love the show, I absolutely love the movie. Now, but coming in at number 10, is The Greatest Showman, a movie I didn't think I'd put on here until I remembered how great it actually was. For the only reason it's on here is the soundtrack, which has some of the best music in my opinion. Just great music from start to finish. The story is great. I know it's not historically accurate, but each character in here, even P.T. Barnum, who I know is a horrible person, but in this movie, they make you kind of relate to him, and he's a good character in this movie. It stars Hugh Jackman, Zac Efron, Zendaya, and it's just such a fun movie. It's you just gotta check it out. It's breathtaking. The cinematography in here is great also, and just check it out. Ninth place is going to be my most controversial pick on this list, and probably one of my most controversial opinions ever. This movie is not loved by a lot of people, but to me, this is my favorite Christmas movie and my favorite comedy, and that is Daddy's Home 2. I've seen this movie 3 times, and every time I absolutely love it. There's just some absolutely quotable lines and stuff that I just love to rewatch because it's so funny. My parents do not like rewatching movies, but when they saw this, the second time they laughed just as hard, maybe harder. And it's such a good Christmas movie, but it's because it's so warm-hearted, but it's also funny. And we have John Lithgow and Mel Gibson coming in here. I've only seen the first one once, but this sequel it's so great and how funny it is. And it's my favorite Will Ferrell movie. 8th place is my favorite Star Wars movie of all time, and that is The Empire Strikes Back. What hasn't been said about this movie? I'm not going to elaborate on that much of why it's this high. It's almost a near perfect movie. Actually, I would say it is a perfect movie. I think the stuff with Yoda, Boba Fett, Darth Vader, Lando, it's all great, and that's all I'm going to say. In 7th place, Avengers Infinity War. My second to least favorite Avengers movie, but I'd actually say third favorite, because, Age of Ultron aside, it's almost a perfect, I would say it's a perfect trilogy, taking out Age of Ultron, but I think Age of Infinity War is a great movie just because of how it balances all these characters, and I think it really handles it well. In 6th place, I have Toy Story 3. Now, I was debating whether to put Toy Story 4 or Toy Story 3. Just kidding. It was only Toy Story 3 for me. My favorite Pixar movie. Not my favorite animated movie, but it's definitely a great movie. And what they do with Andy and the 2 ending scenes are great with the incinerator and him handing away his toys. It's just, it's great. This is my childhood animated movie. I remember watching this a lot on car rides. And, the characters in here are great. I think Andy's toys, other than, Buddy, Buzz and Woody, I think they get the most screen time in this movie. I think that's also why I enjoy this movie so much. It has the best writing, the best directing. It's just a great movie. In 5th place is a movie I don't want to talk about much because what hasn't been said about this movie, and that is Avengers Endgame. This movie is great, and I just want to say something I haven't heard a lot of people say about this movie, and that's the end credits are probably some of the coolest and most original end credits I've ever seen. That's not the only reason I absolutely love this movie. It's just something I haven't heard a lot of people say, so I just thought I'd say it, but, everything else of what the positives that people have been saying about this movie, absolutely deserved. 4th place. Again, not my favorite animated movie, but in 4th place is Zootopia. This movie handles the crime, and this is my favorite crime movie. No, it's my second favorite, actually. We'll get to the next one. But it's my second favorite crime movie, and I would count it as a crime movie because this movie is so great in the fact that it handles all this stuff in an animated kids movie with a bunny and a fox. And this movie is so great. The animation here is spectacular, and I cannot wait for the Disney Plus show for this. I've rewatched this movie over 20 times maybe, and it never gets old. I think every character is good in their own right, whether it's to be comedic relief or to further out the plot. The twist villain in here, the first time I watched it, I actually really didn't see it coming, but, some people did. But, she's an okay villain, but overall, it's a phenomenal, excellent 10 out of 10 movie for me. In 3rd place is The Dark Knight, and that's basically all I'm going to say about this movie. It's a darn right perfect movie. It's my favorite crime movie. It's one of my favorite superhero movies. Heath Ledger gives one of the greatest performances in a comic book movie. I'd say the best. And that's all I'm going to say about it because it's a perfect movie that I feel like a lot of people have talked about. In 2nd place, my favorite animated movie of all time, one of my favorite comedies of all time, one of my favorite fantasy movies of all time, one of my favorite parody movies of all time, and that is Shrek 2. This movie is great in multiple reasons. This is my favorite sequel, and for multiple reasons. Number one, every song that's in here has aged well and fits the scene perfectly. Also, every character in here is better than they are in the original movie. Everything in here is upped an ante from Shrek. Now, that's not always a good thing, but in here it is. It's funnier, the story's better, it's just all around a great movie, and that is why Shrek 2 comes in at number 2. But my favorite movie of all time has to be The Avengers. This movie is perfect except for one thing. Captain America's suit looks so stupid and such like a Walmart Captain America. When people were saying that Wyatt Russell's Captain America looks like a Walmart Captain America, just watch the original Avengers. But I just love this movie for so many reasons. How they set up the team, just the end action sequence, the banter. It's, again, a great movie. The score by Alan Silvestri is absolutely phenomenal. One of the best movie scores I've ever seen. Every character in here is great, except for Hawkeye. They don't use him well in here. But this is my favorite comic book movie, favorite movie of all time. So definitely watch this if you're a fan of action movies, comic book movies, and, just a movie fan in general. So there you have it, guys. There is my top 20 favorite movies of all time. It was a fun list to put together. I will be doing my top 10 favorite TV shows of all time in the next month or so. So, thank you so much for watching, and may the force be with you.